Welcome to It's Your Date with Destiny with Apostle Vivian and Pastor Jemma Duncan of Divine Destiny Worship Center in Diego Martin. For the next 30 minutes, join us as we take you on a journey of maximizing your potential and realizing your goals through Jesus Christ.
Pleasant good morning to you. Thank you for joining me this morning on Ask Pastor Jemma. I'm happy that you're going to be part of this little journey that I've taken called What's Love Got to Do with It? And this morning, we're continuing from last time when we started to talk about self-love. For some people, you may think that's strange, but Jesus in Matthew chapter 22, verse 39 says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. It means that we are expected to love other people to the same measure that we love ourselves. The truth is, I can't love somebody if I don't have self-love. I can only love somebody based on my whole concept of love. And then it means that most of us have to go back to the drawing board in terms of how we treat ourselves. Last time, I spoke about how you view yourself, how much you like yourself, and we need to like ourselves. Like in the sense that be happy with what God gave us. Some of us can actually do something about improving it, then by all means, go ahead and improve it. If the body that you have, the face that you've got, you can't really change it, then be thankful and think more of functionality than appearance. And then we have the advantage of actually dressing it up and making it look absolutely good. And it's only you and the person close to you could actually see what's really underneath there. And if that person really loves you, then I guess it shouldn't really matter because they too have some things that they're hiding underneath there as well. So we thank God. I talked about loving you. I talked about appropriate dressing to bring out the best in you. And we can do that, dress age appropriate, size appropriate, etc. Then I talked about finding time out of your busy schedule to have a little me time and find time to do something that you enjoy just for you, what it is you like doing, and slip aside a little time on a regular basis to do just that. Then the last time we stopped off, I started talking about taking care of your physical body, and that's where we're going to pick up from this morning. However, I want to pause a little bit in the event that you're a first-time viewer. My name is Jemma Duncan. I am married to Apostle Vivian Duncan. Together, we pastor Divine Destiny Worship Center. Our headquarters is in Diego Martin, on Diego Martin Main Road, opposite Sardonex Drive. We have a branch in Antigua, if you have a friend or family member there. We have one in Chaguanas, one in Faizabad, and a branch in Sangre Grande. We actually have a branch in Tobago, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about it. Now, let's get back to our little discussion. And the last time we talked about taking care of your physical well-being, I talked about visiting the doctor for checkups, regular checkups. And ladies especially, we tend to take care of everybody else except ourselves. We need to do something about expressing love for ourselves by how we take care of our physical well-being. Not only should we take the checkup, but whatever the doctor says to do, we should do. What about supplements that we should be taking on, based on the physical needs, how your body is working, and so on. We talked about sufficient sleep, and sleep rejuvenates us. Our bodies need sleep. That's why God organized it in such a way that we function during the day, we sleep at night, and during those hours, your body rejuvenates itself to function again the next day. Most of us know full well that when we deprive ourselves of sleep over a long period of time, it affects us very, very negatively. You know, some people, those who work shift, feel the fallout of that, confusing the body day and night and so on and so forth. But as much as we can, we absolutely must try to sleep. Now, if you have a problem sleeping, then that's something that you have to deal with, check the doctor for. But we have to try to get in some rest. Exercise, and that's where I stopped off. I want to talk about it. It doesn't matter what size or shape you are. Most times, or most avid exercisers are those who already have probably the correct weight and shape and size. And because they're very physical conscious, they make sure and they're very disciplined in terms of exercising. Now, I want you to know that it doesn't matter what age you are, what stage you are. As far as I know, exercise improves your life. I was looking at the television, there was this health program, and the doctors were saying, regardless of what sickness you have, exercise tend to make things a little better for us. So it's absolutely important. Do something, a little walking, be a little active, a little gardening right around your house, because do something fun. Some people, you prefer the gym because you don't have the discipline to really do as much as you should do. The truth is, if I have to, for example, go on the treadmill for 1 hour or 30 minutes when I'm by myself, after 15 minutes, listen, you know, I mean, you're feeling like you want to die, I will come off the treadmill if I'm at home. Usually if you're in the gym and there's somebody there with you, you're suffering, but you will stay on. So, you know, if you have the time, the means and everything, and you really want to do this thing, then maybe you should have, you know, a trainer if you can afford it, or a partner. Sometimes you don't need a trainer, but a walking partner or somebody. But I'm just saying to you, be active, do something. They tell us, park a little distance from the building and walk. They say, if possible, use the stairs at times instead of the elevator. Most of us are hustling and you use the elevator. When you're going to work, that little extra minute is important. When you're coming back, you're so tired, you really don't want to go in use the stairs. But you know as well as I do what you could do to just be a little active, move the body a little bit. Very important. Eat well-balanced meals and drink adequate supplies of water. Usually, as adults, we make sure our children eat proper meals, and you know, we don't eat. Vivian and I had that habit. We would fix breakfast for the children, and usually we didn't eat breakfast, which was terrible. Over the years, and we didn't eat breakfast, and even when you know you should eat it, it's very hard for me to eat breakfast very early. So what do? We will have a little fruit bowl or something, so that's easy. I could readily eat fruits in the morning. And so I try hard to ensure that when both of us get up, that I fix a fruit bowl or something, so at least you have something to start with. And then mid-morning is when we could normally eat, then you have something a little more adequate. So it's very important. Try something as light as a light cereal, you know, some form of cereal. Just get up in the morning and something that will keep you a little bit. Do that, because that habit of not eating breakfast, and I know many of us have the habit because that's rush time for us, is not a good habit. Have a fruit. You know, I tell people even an apple is hard if you're driving or you're traveling to have the whole apple. I make it easy. I cut up the apple the night before. Take out the pit, slice it in small bite sizes so it's easy to take it with your finger and eat as you go along. Make it easy. It's hard to be biting this apple. You know, and even like women, you already makeup and your lipstick and so on. So you want a little piece of apple to put inside of your mouth and so on. So cut up the fruit in little bite sizes, which makes it easy than a whole fruit or a big chunk or bit of fruit. But by all means, we have to watch how we eat and so on. Drink adequate supplies of water. You may not be drinking as much water as you should, but at least try to drink a little more than you're drinking. Sip water from time to time. Some people can't drink a whole lot, but if you carry it and ever so often you take a little sip, a little bit, that would be good. I know some people, when you drink that much water, then it means you have to go to the bathroom very often. And based on where you are, you have to be careful. Sometimes I avoid drinking too much water if I'm on a trip, long drive or so. And even if I'm thirsty, I'll sip a little bit because, you have to stop to go and so on. But you know what I'm talking about as far as it lies within us to, drink the water and so on. Listen to your body. It tells you when to stop. And we know there are times when, listen to me, you're dog tired and your body's screaming at you, stop. And you tell yourself, you know what, let me just finish cooking. Let me just finish the washing. Let me just finish the cleaning. Let me just complete this thing. No, we know when your body says to stop, and that's the time you really should just leave every single thing. Or when you collapse, or when I collapse, they stay undone. The house remains in the not so perfect condition. The wares remain where they are. Whoever it is have to eat, either cook food or buy food, and so on, and you are hospitalized because you did not listen to your body. Let me tell you something. Our bodies tell us when something is wrong. You know, the feeling, your energy level, it drops, and we keep ignoring it until it is too late. And I could tell you, I know that you do that same thing because that's exactly what I do. And many of us are guilty of it. And so I'm saying to us, we need to listen to our bodies. We're talking self-love here today. If I say I love myself, then this body of mine, I need to listen and take care of my physical body. You say you love yourself? Let me give you a little bit of advice. Find at least one person with whom you can be real. Just one. Because there are not many people around that you could be real with. Listen, if you find somebody that you could be yourself with, that's a treasure. Someone who will allow you just to be you. Somebody who will allow you to be foolish. Somebody who will let you cry for something so stupid it doesn't even make sense. And they will just stay quiet and let you weep. Because that person knows that you just need a little rest, a little respite, a hiding place. They don't have to lecture you and tell you, but you should have faith. And you don't want those people. I know I should have faith, and I know that I know the scripture, the relevant scripture verse to tell me how I should behave at that particular time. But let me be weak and foolish for a little while. I will pick up and recover soon. But we need that. You need somebody who you could be truthful with. I could actually tell that person, you know what, this is what's happening with me. And usually you wouldn't get a look, you wouldn't get a little sermon. That person will just listen. And sometimes people come to me and they will tell me certain things and they're looking for a response from me. And I say to that person, Apostle and I have heard almost anything that anybody could say to us. We heard it all. And sometimes a few people surprise you because you didn't think that that person would be telling you what they are saying to you. But it's not as if what they're saying is surprising. Listen to me. And there are times when, for us to get our deliverance from certain things, we have to talk about it. There are some hidden things that haunt us for years. And it is not that the person will counsel you. It's just that you need to get it out of your system. I've listened to people, and at the end of them talking to me, they didn't need a counselor. Really, they just need an ear. They need somebody to listen, that's all. And in getting it out of your system, they got their deliverance. I remember talking to this lady, and she was way into her 70s, probably approaching 80. And she keeps saying to me, I need to talk to you ever so often. I said, well, anytime you're ready, you could come and talk to me. And somehow she would not get the courage to come to speak. And finally, one day, she didn't come for counseling. We were standing right in front of the church where I normally sit down in front, and she came to me right there. And she said, you know what, I must tell you this thing. And she started to cry. At 6 years old, she was molested. I was the first person she was telling. She was almost 80 years. She said, I have had a great life. She succeeded in career, married a wonderful gentleman, had great children. The children loved her. Good life. Retired, enjoying the best of life. Very active in church, is giving out so much. People admire, somebody greatly admired. And then she said to me, but from that age, I carried this. I have to get it out of my system before I die. Oh, she died a little while after. Well, it was not a little, but months. I don't think it was a year after she died. And I was happy that she didn't die with that secret. Let me tell you something. If you're talking self-love, there's some things that may be haunting you. And all of us like to be private. I mean, who likes to tell people certain things? I don't want to tell anybody, you know. However, if you know, come on, years and you're not dealing with something, you're not coping with this particular secret, you've got to get out, you know. Ask Holy Spirit to guide you to the person, and there are people that you can be real with. Some people come to tell me some things, and I realize that this person struggled to tell. I mean, you know, this particular thing, it was a habit that she couldn't break. And I knew it was hard for her to speak to me. And she told me, it didn't mean that her struggles ended, but I think she needed to get it out of her system. And I believe her talking to me was the beginning of her deliverance. I'm just saying to you, listen, get it out. I'll tell you another reason why you should get it out is because it is literally killing you. These things eat into us like cancers. And there are times when I'm not a medical person, but there are times we actually get certain diseases like cancers based on some of the things that are literally eating us from the inside. We accentuate lifestyle diseases like the heart and the pressure and the whatever it is, because these things are in our bodies and they're literally destroying us. Everything else is working for you except this one secret, this one thing, the violation. Sometimes you are the person who violated, and you know you have to talk about it. Like you can't recover from this particular deed. You may be saved, you may be going to church, but there was something that happened and you want to tell somebody. How do you sit down and tell your pastor, I did this particular thing? Well, you have to tell somebody. Sometimes the pastor is not the person that you would want to tell, but ask God to lead you to somebody that you can really be truthful and be honest with. And I'm saying it again, if you find someone that you can be real with, that person is a treasure. Hold on to that individual. Treasure that person. Don't overburden them. Try to resolve some of this stuff for yourself, because we might have the tendency to know every little thing you rush into the person. No, that person probably is somebody that other people come to as well. So you try not to overburden the individual, but cherish that person. And when you are overwhelmed, God puts this solitary in family, and that's what the Bible says. That's the reason why he put you in a church community. That's why it's important that you belong to a community of believers, because he will guide you to somebody that you can trust. Everybody is not somebody who will just talk about your business. There are people who are trustworthy, and all you have to do is find them, ask Holy Spirit to guide you to that individual. That's absolutely important. Absolutely, absolutely important. We have God, I know, and the bottom line is we should tell it to Jesus, and that's the truth. But there are times when you really need to bounce off certain things of another human being, because we're just human, and that's who we are. And so some people say, well, you have Jesus. Yes, I do. And by far and large, I tell him almost everything. I'm not in that advantageous place like some people that have people who you can really talk to. The pastor really doesn't have very many people that they could be real with, and that's the truth. And we have Jesus, that's the truth. But there are times when you really want another human being that you should talk to. So I understand the need for it. And God will give you leaders who you can speak to, then make use of them. As I said, it doesn't mean that every little thing, but you know, when it's something that you really can't contain, can't deal with, then you know, go ahead and seek help. What's the next thing? From time to time, talk over your issues that you find difficult to resolve in your own same topic, but be very selective in the details that you give. Now, it doesn't mean because you feel in need to speak to somebody that you have to give that person all the details. Sometimes you have to give the person the gist of it. Sometimes you have to withhold names of people. You have to be very careful that you call certain names because that could implicate other people. And so you could talk in general about certain things and get to the gist of it. You know, if you're violent, you could say so, but sometimes, you know, be careful. Sometimes people are alive and you want to be careful if, you know, that you don't give out names and all of that. So be selective in the information you give. Getting it out of your system doesn't mean that you have to say every single thing to every single person, because sometimes you may tell somebody who can't handle certain information. So we're talking about, you have to ask Holy Spirit to really guide you to that person. And even when you decide to talk to somebody, there is need for you to be a little reserved in all the information that you give out. Be very careful in what you will say. You love yourself? Let me give you another idea. Invest in yourself with the view of making yourself better as an individual and more marketable so that you can increase your ability to earn more income. In other words, be the perpetual learner. Always try to acquire new skills, new knowledge, new information. Try to make yourself better. Self-love will be demonstrated when I see you using opportunities, walking through doors that are open to you to make yourself better and more marketable. I look at my life, and there were opportunities I had that I let slip by, and I wasn't really wise. I was young at the time. And I'll tell you a couple of them. I remember I had an opportunity to learn piano. And first to begin, I was a bit vain, and because it was tedious, I had always loved nails, even as a teenager. And I would do nothing that would cause me to cut my nails. I remember when I was in a particular secondary school, we had a guitar club. And I befriended one of the guys who was in the guitar club. And he said, let's join the guitar club. And I said, okay, let's go. Because we had a little group of us who used to hang out together. And when it was time for me to really cut the nails, I wouldn't cut it. I remember I had an opportunity to learn to type. That time was typewriters. I wouldn't cut the nail. According to Solomon, vanity of vanity and vexation of spirits, not that I look back. You know, here am I not taking the opportunity to learn these skills that would have taken me through my entire lifetime. Now, I can't type very well on the computer. You know, I mean, I try, but that skill, little did I know that somewhere down the road I would need it. Now I'm married to a pastor, learning to play the piano or the guitar. That would have been absolutely wonderful, because I could have used it sometimes when the women have something or something so. But I passed up on these things because I was so foolish. And many of us pass opportunities to learn skills. But you see, it's not your main income earner. So you tell yourself, well, somebody doing a cake course, I could do it, I have the time and everything. When will I mean, I don't need to learn to make cake. I could make a little cake home at Satisfactory. Nobody could learn icing and so on. You don't know when you will need that skill. So anytime there is some skill that you can acquire, then make use of it, because what it does is makes you more marketable. Life takes us some roads sometimes we don't understand. And sometimes those same things that we pass up, we may just need them later on in our lives. I have two more that I'll give you, and then we're going to close for today. Attend conferences and workshops. Be an eternal student. Retreats help to boost your inner self-being. Concerts boost your emotional self. Every one of these activities helps to make you better. Come on. There are many things. And women, we buy bags and shoes, but when there is a conference that will edify us, we think about, you know, sometimes at $100. And I hear people querying about the $100. The handbag is $500 and $600 and more. The shoes is about that kind of money. Gucci and whatever the names, I don't really know much names of the handbags. Most of the bags I have, they may have a brand name, but most times they're given to me. You know, so you will say, well, but you have them here, but half the times I don't know what it is. I remember my daughter had this bag, and I didn't really pay attention to the bag. And she said, oh my, mommy, I want this bag. Then I knew it was valuable. Say, I want the bag. But she will come home and so truly think somebody gave it to me and I'm not attending, right? So if you add it, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy those things. If you're in a place that you can afford it, wonderful. But by all means, invest in improving yourself by attending these conferences and workshops that may help you. And finally, learn to make presents to yourself. My aunt used to say, I made myself the present of. In other words, listen, one of these days, and ever so often, just buy something for yourself. Splurge a little bit. Make yourself the present of. Don't wait for somebody to present something to you. And especially if it's an event, listen, don't just take it in the regular store bag. Make them put it in a fancy bag. Make them buy the gift bag, put the fancy paper inside it, and walk out with your nice little bag looking really good. You're doing that for you. Sometimes we have people around us who will do that for us. Wonderful. And I do, and I give God praise. And people are very kind to me. And, they try to show their love and appreciation for what we do. And, I give God praise. But why not buy it yourself? And I tell myself, if people could buy it for me, and why can't I reward myself at times? So reward yourself. In a nutshell, I like to put it in this way. You have to keep a piece of the pie for yourself. Don't ever cut up a pie and share it and give everybody a slice, and there is none for you. It doesn't matter how much you share, how much you give, leave a little bit for you. And in my mind, I call that self-love. And Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. The next time we meet, we're going to go now and to talk about how to love others. What the standard, what is the guide that God has given us to love others? Because if you embrace what I've just said to you, it means that you're practicing self-love. Then and only then will we be ready to love other people. I don't want you to ever forget that with God, everything is possible. God bless you real good. See you next time.